This is something that is a very slippery slope. It's something that came to me one morning. I woke up. Kendall had already done like 2 workouts that morning, and I woke up and I decided I need to do something with my life. So I started thinking, and there's a common theme in endurance racing, specifically long course endurance racing, and that's finish. First time Ironman, first time half Ironman, first time doing anything, your goal is what? I just want to survive it. Like, I just want to wake up the next day and go, whew, that was terrible, but we're good, right? It's no different than a job interview or anything else we do in life. So that really made me dive into it and really start thinking about what does finish really mean? Because that's ultimately the goal for everybody. To finish something, to finish college, to finish raising the kids, to finish the drive to work in rainy conditions, right? So what does it really mean? And I prefer, when I bring up an idea, I like to have the actual like Webster Dictionary definition. When I was a kid, and you guys probably remember this, when I was a kid, in order to research stuff for school, my mom gave me a dictionary, and I had 1963 Encyclopedia Britannica. Okay? I tell a story. I did a report on Chernobyl. It was not to be found in there because Chernobyl had not melted down yet. Mom's like, well, look in the encyclopedia. It's not in there. It's functioning. I don't know. So I reference definitions. So you hear me do this a lot. When I come up with a word or a phrase or an idea, I come up with a definition. So the definition of finishing is bring a task or activity to an end, complete. Duh. I don't think I need to define that. We kind of all knew what it meant, right? But finishing is different to each one of you in this room, right? Finishing could be going a certain time. Finishing could be, I don't want extra stress on my family. Finishing could be a place. It's a different thing. So I want you to ask yourself, this isn't a discussion point necessarily, but what does finishing mean to you? Because if Allie tells me I want to finish, it's going to mean different than Brandy, or different than Rebecca, or different than Will, or different than Kendall, right? Something different. So think to yourself, what does it mean to me to finish? And then take it a step further. Did you know that the definition, the way you define that phrase, can be your key to success or failure? Right? The way I've had athletes before. This is not my first year coaching. I've had athletes tell me before, I want to finish. What do? We finish. What are they? Unhappy. Because their goal setting is terrible. Right? Had an athlete last year, because he called me out, had an athlete last year that PR'd by 20 to 30 minutes of the full distance, was completely unhappy. We met every goal he told me he wanted to do. Every goal. So, again, we go back and reassess the goals, and I find out, oh, there's a bigger goal. That's what you really got to define. But your definition of finishing is important to your success or failure. And to go along with that, raise your hand if you have ever finished an event, a school, a test, anything, and you have just felt flat, like empty. Raise your hand. If you've done something and you're just like, well, right. So almost everybody in the room, it's like, all right, well, that was kind of lame sauce, so what now, right? Part of that is, I believe, too much emphasis on accomplishment can cause that. If it means that much to you, when you get done, it's not going to fulfill you. Does that make sense? Okay? That's deep, right, Will? I see you. Stay with me here. And we'll talk about it later. Will and I got to follow up after all my talks. Anyway. He works for NASA. But anyhow, and I got a terrible tour there, by the way.
You got the best.
I need a redo. Often we surround ourselves with people who are inspiring us. Sometimes they're stronger, more driven, have been doing it longer. That's something that triathletes do not appreciate. You're riding next to somebody, just because me and Josh rode together today, he's been doing the sport probably way longer than I have. But I can't look at him and go, oh man, why is he riding off from me right now? You don't know, right? So you gotta appreciate that. Grab a plate. Jerry, we got some late arrivers. And sometimes this goes along with the whole finishing. Sometimes I believe it can whitewash the accomplishments because in our eyes they are better than us, right? If Will and I are doing Ironman St. George next year together, okay? Or Ironman Louisville next year together. So we're doing Ironman Louisville next year together. And so no, we're doing Louisville together next year. But anyway, we both have the goal of finishing, right? That's kind of the ultimate goal. That's the very first goal. And then you put times inside of that. We both have the goal of finishing. He goes 10:47 and I go 11:08. Well, I'm lesser than him. But our goals were to finish. But again, how you define that, the power that the word finish has to you really can make or break your success. And at the end of the day, I don't care about your success. I care about your happiness as a coach. When an athlete finishes a race and they're not happy with it, I just want to rip my hair out. Not to have much left, but I want to be gone with it because it's like, what did we do wrong? When ultimately the athlete didn't really grasp what finishing meant. Okay? And I want you to also, I'm saying a lot of very like hyper-specific stuff. I want you to think about this in a general principle. It can apply to your life, right? It's a very general thing. But right now we're talking very much about sport, but I want you to also consider that. How can that help you find happiness in other parts of your life? Any questions about that so far? Not one question.